guys, it's Miranda from My Sister's Bookshelf, and today I'm doing the monthly recommendations video. The monthly recommendations is actually a Goodreads group run by Trina from Between the Chapters. I will link her channel down below, and also the Goodreads group where we get the monthly recommendation topics. This month's monthly recommendations is for survival stories. So this can be survival stories in the physical sense, and also overcoming something mentally, or just overcoming any kind of situation. So I'm going to break this up into 3 parts: TV, movies, and then books. So to start off, my first part is TV. My first monthly recommendation is Arrow, which is on the CW. This obviously follows the superhero Green Arrow, but if you watch the show from the beginning, and it's on Netflix, it is starting off at a survival standpoint because he is stranded on this island in the beginning, and he constantly, his mindset is constantly going back to that. And so not only is he surviving in a physical sense, but then once he gets back to America, he has to survive, or he has to overcome the mental challenges from that. I really like this show. This is a monthly recommendation, so I recommend the show for sure. It's on Netflix, and it's also on Hulu, so you can watch it and catch up. The next one is Fringe, and if you watched my, you can't really see it on this. If you watch my 5 favorite fandoms videos, you know those two, Arrow and Fringe, were on that fandom video. But I love the show Fringe. It's on Netflix. Again, you can watch it from beginning to end on Netflix. It's about an FBI agent who basically gets pulled into this deeper part of another government organization, but it's like not the FBI. It's even more secret than that. And it's just so good. And she calls in this older gentleman. He is a scientist, and he did a lot of these experiments like back in the 70s, and they had to pull him out of a mental institution. And in order to do that, they had to pick up his son, if you can't see, his son, which is Joshua Jackson, who is like my favorite, but to like help to get him out of the mental institution. And so the 3 of them then are kind of caught together in trying to solve these different cases. But when it comes to the survival aspect of it, as a season goes on, it does get very, like, they have to survive like these different things that happen. I don't want to give too much away from the story. But it definitely, as the season goes on, it is more of like trying to, like, they have to survive like these different things that happen, and especially the final season. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but it's a very, very good show. I definitely would look it up on Netflix. It's really good. I give that show is like 5 stars, like my favorite. The next survival story TV show is Making a Murderer. And this is a Netflix original series. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this yet, but it's basically about a man who is, this is a documentary. This is a documentary TV series or documentary series. It's basically about a man who is accused of rape. He goes to jail for like 10 years or something, and then he gets released, and then he gets arrested again. And I don't want to give too much away from the story, so I want you to watch it. It's very, very good. It's a true story. It's a documentary, but it's definitely like about this man surviving or getting through this great feat of, like, you know, all this stuff that he's been going through, and what he's accused of, and his family being like dragged through the mud. I mean, it is a very good. It's gripping. I had to marathon it. I couldn't not watch it. I had to watch the whole thing straight. It's really good. Okay, now we'll go on to part 2, which is movies. So my first survival story is just because I love it, and that is Jurassic World. And this came out, last summer. I think that it was so good, and it's obviously, with any Jurassic Park movie, they have to survive out of this amusement park, and Chris Pratt is in it, and he is beautiful. The next one is San Andreas, with Dwayne Johnson. And this one is it's really good. I wasn't sure I didn't really want to see it, and my friend saw it and she's like, you have to see it. So I saw it, and it's definitely a survival movie. So basically what happens is that in San Andreas there's these like fault lines, these San Andreas fault lines that like if they were to rupture or whatever, like this is what would happen. And so it's like basically a big earthquake. And so it's a natural disaster movie. It was really good though. It's gripping. Um, yeah, had you on the edge of the seat from the beginning, and The Rock was great in it. Dwayne Johnson. The last movie recommendation survival story that I have is The Impossible, and this one is based on a true story about a family who was caught up in the tsunami in the Philippines. It is so good. It's definitely a survival story. The family gets split up. Like, this is stuff that you find out in the beginning of the movie. But the family gets split up, and it's about their journey, like through like each of their journeys during the tsunami and trying to find their way back to each other. It's really, really good. I definitely suggest watching this. It's really good. So finally, we're on part 3, which is books. My first book is Silver Linings Playbook. This book by Matthew Quick is my #1 favorite book of all time. Like, it's very good. It's about a man who he's in a mental institution, like basically like a mental rehabilitation institution, and he's checked out by his mom, and it's about like him like overcoming the things that he went through. I don't want to give away too much. He's trying to get his wife back because of some of the things that happened before he got into the mental institution. But it's all about him overcoming his mental issues, and with his wife and all these different things. It's very good. The book is incredible. The movie is very good as well. I loved the movie adaptation of it. I thought it was incredible. It was spot on. It was just really good. So pick up the book for sure. And then after that, watch the movie. The next book that I'm going to bring out is The Fifth Wave. And this is the book, not the movie. But the book, The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, is about a girl who's basically one of the only survivors left after these 4 different waves of these aliens basically coming to Earth, and there's different waves that they go through, and the 5th wave is what they're basically about to go through now, and it's just basically the aliens trying to they're basically messing with the humans in different ways. Like there was disease was one of the waves, natural disasters was one of the waves. They cut the electricity and all the power. That was one of the waves. So yes, there's the girl in the story, the main girl in the story is basically trying to survive to find her brother. And then they also switch perspectives to another or a boy who his story isn't as much survivalist as Cassie's story is, the girl's story. If for those of you who saw the movie but didn't read the book is much better than the movie. So if you want to really get into this story, I definitely suggest reading this book. This book for me was a 5-star book. I really enjoyed it. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to talk about is actually a graphic novel series, and that is Alex and Ada. And this is by Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughn. So this is a 3-part graphic novel series, and what it's about is about a man who gets basically a robot for his birthday, but this is the robot. She's I'm sorry, there's like such a big glare. She looks like a human though. She's not like like a traditional robot. But they find out a way to unlock her so that way she can have feelings and things like that, and thoughts, her own thoughts. It's basically about them surviving the world, because unlocking a robot is illegal. So it's about them surviving that against, they're kind of like up against their government and their friends, even like trying to make sure they're not caught. It's a very good series. I think I gave the whole series 4 out of 5 stars, but I recommend it. I thought it was really good. The last book I'm going to talk about in my monthly recommendations is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is I'm on the second book. There's 3 books in the series. I'm currently reading the second book, and I'm taking my time because I'm savoring it. It is incredible. However, so how it starts is there's a boy who basically they live on Mars in these tunnels, and he is a miner. Basically, they call him hell divers, and he is like he's just doing this work. They're getting they're mining for this, I forget what it is. They're mining for something so that way eventually people can live on Mars. I don't want to get too much into it. You find out so much in the beginning, but when I went into this book, I knew nothing about the book. I just knew that there was this new book and that the author was new and young, and like it was like if you liked Hunger Games and you liked dystopian stuff and even like Ender's Game, then you would like this. But it's still considered an adult fiction book instead of a young adult. And so I was like, this seems interesting. That's basically all I knew about it. I read the book and it was so not what I expected. It's just like I don't want to tell you too much about the book because I want you to have the same experience that I had. It is such a good book. Like I can't even tell you. The second book, I'm taking my time because I just don't want to fly through it. I want to savor every moment of it. It's just so good. And I want to get the third book because everybody's raving about the third book, and I'm just like I don't want it to end. It's so good. So I'm definitely 100% recommend picking up Red Rising. And you'll know why it's a survival story when you read it. Like, just read it and you'll understand the survival aspect of it. And it gets very intense very quickly. But it's like 5 out of 5 stars. One of my favorite book series so far, and I haven't even finished it yet. So definitely definitely pick it up for sure. So those are my monthly recommendations for April. I know I rambled a lot. I'm probably going to have a lot to cut out. But please let me know down below what your monthly recommendations were for this month. If any of mine were the same as yours or if they were different. Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.